Hello and welcome to Record Sports Hotline Live with myself, Daniel Corr. I'm absolutely devastated to tell you that I'm joined tonight by the one and only Keith Jackson.
See, that's better. That's better. That's more real. And
thought
by
you'd
the
like
way,
that.
right, well, I get annoyed, right, because you've set up your own kind of studio there and you think it looked a little bit better than mine. So I've decided to see your studio and raise you. Actually, the secret is that this studio in Record HQ, Daily Record HQ, has taken longer to build than the refurbishment work in the Copeland Road stand. And it's still not finished.
It's
still
still
a
not
health and
finished.
safety issue. But
Aye.
I thought I'd come in here and try it out, just for a wee bit of ambience.
It does look
Change the
good.
scenery.
Looks
Quite
very
like
good,
it.
aye. I like the
Quite
background
like it.
lights.
That's a wee glow that's coming off me, by the way. I'm just carrying about.
Well,
How
listen,
are you, Daniel? You all right?
I'm absolutely brilliant, Keith. This is my favourite time of the day.
Of course it is.
We've got a packed show tonight, despite it being international break. We're going to talk about Celtic, who are playing Sligo Rovers in a friendly tonight. We're also going to bring you the latest from the Scotland camp, and we're going to do something a little bit unusual, Keith. We're going to give fans the chance to watch the entire Ben Doak press conference from today.
Yeah, you and I were discussing it earlier, Daniel, and we don't really know much about Ben Doak. We don't know what he sounds like, what he looks like, what his personality's like. And I just thoroughly enjoyed listening to it. I've been to hundreds of these, thousands of these press conferences, and they can become a little bit tiresome. But do you know something? I really enjoyed listening to them. And I think you get a wee idea, and I think the fans that are listening and watching this will get a wee idea for the boy's personality, because I think that's going to be a crucial part, and is already a crucial part of the development which has brought him to this stage where he's 18, he's got 2 full Scotland caps, and we might be getting very used to it. So in another 5, 6, 10 years' time, you might be sick of the sight of Ben Doak press conferences. But this one I just thought is worth listening to. I thought it was a really interesting sort of a look under the bonnet at what makes him tick. He even talks about why he left Celtic to go to Liverpool, why he believes that was the right decision. Just interesting. You get a wee feel for what the boy's all about. And I think there's a lot of the Tartan Army out there that want to get to know Ben Doak as well as they possibly can.
I mean, hopefully, not to put too much pressure on him, hopefully this is our Gareth Bale. This is our world-class
That's what we've
star.
been waiting for, isn't it?
Aye, going forward, look, we've produced world-class goalies and left backs. I would contest, but someone going forward, Ben Doak could be the man.
Well, I mean, we're waiting, but what we've waited for and what we've been looking for is a game changer. As you said, fullbacks were well equipped. Our centre halves, Kieran Tierney, when he's fit, is an absolute Rolls Royce in that position. We've got top class midfield players in McGinn, McTominay, Billy Gilmore. Obviously not Callum McGregor anymore, but yeah, it's in that final third. What you're looking for is a difference maker, a game changer, and we've all our fingers crossed over Ben Doak for a while now. I suspect, because of the kind of long list of injuries that Steve Clarke's got going into these 2 Nations League games against Croatia and Portugal, that we might see a little bit more of Ben Doak than we were expecting to. So that's why we're doing the exact same thing on Hotline Live tonight. We're giving you a little bit more of Ben Doak than you might have otherwise expected.
More bang for your buck. That's coming up a little bit later on. But first, Keith,
more dough for your Doak.
You should work for a newspaper. The Celtic are playing Sligo Rovers tonight, and I guess mid-season friendly. I looked at Celtic's squad today, and it is actually probably a more significant game for some players than folk realise. Players like Lewis Palmer, Mike Nawrocki. I mean, for them, guys like that, it's their only chance really to kind of stake their claim.
Yeah, I mean, I don't imagine that anybody's going to do anything in this match that's going to make them a starter when Celtic play Aberdeen in the top of the table clash. But yeah, any chance these guys that are on the fringes and struggling to get off the fringes, any chance they can get right now, they need to grab it with both hands. It's the same as we've been discussing previously. Just the guys that are on Celtic's bench, when they come on during matches, they've got to try and use whatever minutes they get to put an impression into the mind of Brendan Rodgers and make him think about them for a start the next time round. These guys, well, somebody would need to score a double hat-trick or something to get himself into there. But, you know, it's all about trying to move up the ladder a little bit. And, you know, these guys aren't getting much of a look in normal circumstances. So if one or two of them can make a good impression tonight, then and that's the great thing about the competition for places that Celtic have got, is that even in a match like this, there's something on it for some of these guys, because they know how hard they're going to have to work to try and get anywhere near Brendan Rodgers' first 11.
Yeah. Well, look, it's Michael Gannon who's there at the showgrounds for Record Sport. I caught up with him a little earlier on to talk about the game, and here's what he had to say. The one and only Michael Gannon joins us on the Hotline Live, all the way from Sligo. How's it going, Mick?
Not bad. I don't know where I am right now. I'm going to like Perth, Dortmund, Dingwall, now Sligo.
You do put the miles in, to be fair.
No half. It's been a busy old fortnight, hasn't it? Yeah, just landed in Sligo, cracking little town, West Coast Island. Typical kind of Irish weather. 1 minute it's blazing sunshine, next minute it's bucket of rain. It's a cracking little place. Do a good game tonight. It's obviously a friendly against Sligo Rovers. Should be good fun.
What? This sounds really like a really silly question to ask, but the friendly's not really for anything. It's not like a testimonial in it. It's just a mid-season friendly.
I think so. Yeah, it's a chance for some of the kind of Celtic kind of fringe guys to get some game time during the international break. It's a wee boost for Sligo Rovers. I know there's close links between the clubs. Close history between Celtic and this area as well. I think Dermot Desmond's quite friendly with some of the owners at Sligo, so that's a link up there. So yeah, it's just a kind of, it gives a wee boost for Sligo and some game time for Celtic during a time when some players might need some minutes in the pitch. So yeah, but friendly and a kind of in all aspects of it all. But like I say, a chance for some of the guys to make an impression in terms of Celtic as well.
There's actually more players than I realised that are in that boat where, I mean, okay, I'll just throw some names at you. Odin Thiago Holm, Mike Navrocki, Sinisalo, even Scott Bain. Like, when was the last time Scott Bain played for Celtic?
They played 2 minutes at the end of the game against the last game of last season. Remember when Joe Hart went off?
Of course, so he did. That's well remembered. But there's so many players that you would still, or they will still think that they can make an impact at Celtic. But I guess this is their big chance to do it.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I think you might see Luke McCowan playing tonight. I think Alex Baye will get a game tonight, which will be interesting. He's had a good game at Dingwall against Ross County the weekend. I say saying the Rocket. Interesting, I think, is one is Lewis Palmer. Not involved with Honduras. Does he get a game tonight for Celtic? At a time when people are thinking is his future in doubt at Celtic. I know his dad was quoted saying he's going to knuckle down and try and win his place. It's a good attitude to have. Whether or not it works or not, I don't know. But I hope to make up a chance tonight for him to try and catch his manager's eye again, having drifted from the picture. So yeah, there's a lot of guys. I would quickly. I think Celtic would need to get some of these young guys as well a chance. We saw a little bit of Francis Turley.
He looked good.
Pre-season, looked the part. There's other guys. I think the fullback, is it Kobe Donovan, was good in pre-season as well.
This is really bad. I should have researched. Is it Matthew Fox that played at left back? Matthew, that's really bad. If this makes it into the final edit, that's something's gone wrong.
It was Kobe Donovan and what was the other one? Joe Morris? No, he's a goalkeeper.
Matthew Anderson.
Matthew Anderson, that's the one. Yeah.
Sorry, Matthew, if he's watching.
Yeah, so they two in pre-season, played in pre-season, looked the part as well.
He stood out at left back for me.
Big strong boys that I think are looking good. So yeah, I'd imagine we get a chance to see some of these guys as well. It'd be good to see some of the younger boys getting a chance. I think they will in this kind of game. But listen, it's nothing serious really, but it's a wee run out for some Celtic players, and obviously it's an area where it's packed full of Celtic fans and clubs that are pretty close. Obviously the Celtic history in this area, you get Brother Walford came from these parts, didn't he?
Of course.
John Fallon as well is another one, an ex-Sligo guy. So yeah, there's a lot of kind of historical links between the two clubs. So it'll be very much a hands across the water job, and all friends united.
The two that we mentioned there that fascinate me the most, Mick, about the future is, as you say, Luis Palma. We talked about it recently on a Celtic podcast about how I just think with his lack of pace, I don't see him forcing his way into a Rodgers team. But seeing Rocky, anytime I've seen Rocky play, I think he's done okay. Like, I would love to see him. I mean, again, who's he getting in front of? Carter Vickers or Scales or even Trusty now? Can he see him dislodging any of them?
Yeah, I think it's difficult for him. Stephen Welsh as well. Another one.
Of course.
Head of him in the queue. Yeah, I think he's looked all right. I'm slightly concerned about turning and he's a bit of pace. He's a wee bit kind of slow. But then again, he's not played much. He's never been fit. He's one of these guys that's not been fit enough to really showcase his ability. So he's got to stay fit for a long period of time. If he can stay fit for a good while and do well in B team games and training, the door might open, because anything can happen at any point in time. We've seen it with Carter Vickers getting injured and a few others. So the door can open unexpectedly. He's got to be ready to try and take it, but whether he gets a chance, like you say, you trusted their Scales, Welsh ahead of him. I don't know, it looks a bit ominous for the kid, doesn't it?
No. $4.5 million though, for Celtic. That's good money.
Yeah, I know. But he's got to stay fit. I mean, he's not had that prolonged period of fitness, and you got to wonder if by signing Trusty, you think that is that a kind of writing on the wall for him? I don't know, but it's a precarious kind of time for him. If he is going to be a part of this club going forward, he's got to start showing it at some point soon. But it's whether or not he gets opportunities, I don't know.
The other little Celtic tidbit I wanted to get your take on, Mick, before I let you go, is just Celtic apparently backing out of the Premier Sports deal to show the Aberdeen game. I mean, I get there's reasons behind it and stuff, but in this day and age, two teams tied the top of the league, 7 wins from 7 each. We can't watch it on the telly. It just seems obscene to me.
I get that, but listen, we can't always look both ways. We can't have fans who are fed up not playing at 3 o'clock on Saturday and then get another game moved from 3 o'clock on Saturday. I mean, Celtic and Rangers fans are more inconvenienced than any supporters in the country. Every second week they're playing Sundays, and Rangers played Sunday night last week. It was ridiculous, 8 o'clock kickoff, albeit there was other reasons for them logistically. So, I mean, I can understand the decision not to move it, because it's the 3 o'clock Saturdays are so rare. It just so happens. Listen, Aberdeen could have started the season with 7 defeats. I think they have done in previous seasons, you know what I mean? And it wouldn't be a big game when nobody would even talk about it. So the fact that they haven't, they've started really well. Listen, it goes back to the whole overriding TV. I would like to see a TV that was worth far more money, and they sold all the games. And you can cherry pick any game, but you're not going to get. I mean, I must admit, it's a bugbear of mine that especially Celtic Rangers are adamant they don't want to do too many games away from. They play too many games at home on TV, so you want to try and safeguard these big attendances. I think those days are gone. I think you still get big crowds. I think if this game is at midday or 12:30 on Saturday, I think you still wake at a sellout. I don't think it would affect it. I don't think people would stay away. And if you want to have a season ticket exchange scheme, that would fill the gaps anyway.
Exactly.
So I do think that the deal in terms of the 20 extra games for the Premier Sport package, I don't think it's financially appealing enough for Celtic to want to upset a bunch of their fans that don't want the game to move from Saturday 3 o'clock. So I understand that one, but then again, it goes back to the whole package. I think you should sell, 240 games in a season, I think it is now. If you sell the whole thing, like in Germany and England, you basically sell every game in the league that year, and the TV can pick and choose what games they go and show. Yeah. Until the clubs agree to that, it's not going to happen. You're going to get all these big games, and you're not going to get Rangers against Hearts and Ibrox at 3 o'clock on Saturday on TV, Celtic against Aberdeen, Celtic against Dundee United. These kind of games that are all big games in our calendar we don't get because we don't sell the full package. We only sell a partial package, and we restrict the teams to 5. I think it's now 5 home games. But it does my head in, because I mean the 2 most impressive arenas in the country are Celtic Park and Ibrox. We only see them 8 times a season in the league. We don't showcase our big games. We can moan about the TV deal not being good enough. Then we don't allow to show them big games. So if we want to get the big games and take the cherry pick all the games, we need to sell the full package, and all the games get sold. which means they can pick and choose the games as appropriate. Until you get the Old Firm on board to allow that, it's a moot point. It's a waste of time arguing it because they won't allow it.
Aye.
So it's a circular argument basically because it's not going to happen until they agree on that. It's a shame for armchair punters would want to watch this game. Of course they would. The same way you want to watch the Dundee Derby, the Edinburgh Derby, which we only saw a couple of times last season on TV because it's the same hamstrung for the same reasons. So until we all get on the table and start singing for the same hymn sheet, it's an argument that goes nowhere.
Mick, I hope it's an absolute cracker for you tonight and safe travels when the time comes back home.
I just hope it stays dry, and then after the game we can go and get a wee nightcap pint of Guinness on the road.
Nice one. Thanks, Mick.
Good stuff.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Something tells me, Keith, Mick will indeed be having that Guinness tonight.
Just the one.
We should say that Celtic versus Sligo Rovers will be covered tonight on Record Sport Online on our website. You can follow that in our live blog. Talking about the TV deals there, Keith, another thing that's kind of caught my eye, we've had a lot of responses to on Record Sports social media channels today, is the fact that for the first time this century, the Scotland games coming up will not be on TV. They'll be online only.
Yeah, competitive Scotland match, it's not going to be broadcast.
Similar to the Aberdeen Celtic one, it just seems mad to me.
Yeah. Do you know, the whole thing's evolving, isn't it? I mean, a few years ago I used to write for a newspaper, now look at me. So this is the changing face of media, and it's the way it's moving, and it'll be interesting to see how deep the television, the broadcast deals evolve over the next period, because there is a whole lot more online stuff. I think YouTube are going to be, you'll be able to watch the Scotland games on YouTube, I think.
Yeah.
So that everything's evolving, and the nature of the contracts with TV, the kind of established broadcasters, that might change as well, and it might be something more similar to what Mick's saying there, that in the future a deal will just have to be done, that people can sit at home and they can decide what they're watching on the smart telly, and it's all made available. And at that time, you know, whoever it is that your broadcast partner is, or who you partner up with at this point, they might have to pay premium. And I've said it for years, and Gordon Strachan said it for years before that when you look at Spain and you look at the TV packages that they've had over the years, you're either, as the armchair fan, sitting in the Nou Camp or sitting in the Bernabeu every weekend. And that's the deal. And you get to see whatever. But Celtic and Rangers have refused, absolutely stonewalled any suggestion of doing something similar. Now, Mick's right, and I've said it for years as well. If I'm a guy in Oslo, right, and I'm fancying what football's available today, Sunday afternoon, and I'm flicking through, and I see, and it used to be Hamilton was my big bugbear with the double-decker bus behind the goal and the superstore over there, the kind of supermarket behind there, and the car park over there, or it's Ross County and you've got goals, temporary goals set up, you know, and strewn in with the stands and big banners covering gaps where people should be sitting. If I'm that guy in Oslo or wherever, and I'm sitting flicking through it, and it's a plastic pitch as well, by the way, oh, what's that? I mean, this is pub league stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas if somebody transports you into Celtic Park or Ibrox Stadium, first thing you're going to look at is, wow, what's this? Mm-hmm. And that would drag me in as a viewer. And so I think we have badly packaged the whole thing in terms of how we sell the product to TV stations. I think we're going to have a rethink. I think football as a business is going to have to rethink what broadcast contracts look like in the coming years, because everything's changing. As I said, you know, I'm sitting here now on YouTube. But seriously, I mean, 5-10 years ago, you're sitting at this time of night, you're sitting, you're clattering, you're working on the back page for tomorrow. Everything around football and broadcasting and the way that it's packaged up and delivered to people in their living room these days is changing. And football's going to have to get its head around that. And Scottish football might be good for once if we were a sort of trailblazer and we didn't just follow what everybody else did. There might be an opportunity here for Scottish football to get out in front of it. But I won't hold my breath.
Actually, I completely agree with you, Keith, that it is obviously just a symptom of the changing landscape. But judging by the reactions we've been sent in, I'll throw a few of them at you. It's not gone down well with the Tartan Army. David here saying, for those that don't have YouTube, such as the long supporting elderly Tartan Army or those in financial hardship that can't afford the internet or a smart device, it's no go. Shocking. Tommy Mooney replied with, bet you the England game's on the telly. And Laura Evans didn't hold back, saying, what a shambles the UK is. Nothing but constant financial trouble thanks to the greedy expletives that live amongst us. And John Williams, bet we're able to watch England on STV. Expletive, ridiculous. So, it's not.
Well, and you know, they're not even in the top group, Nations League. And that's boiling my blood a little bit. You know, surely priority should be given by national broadcasters to who's the top team. Well, it's Scotland right now. And England won't like that, and I get that. But we've been promoted, they've been relegated. They should do one, and our guys should be on the telly. But there is another argument to be made. Where's the national broadcaster in all of this? Why was it left to ITV/STV to pick up a bid at the 11th hour? Why is that? Where's BBC Scotland, the national broadcaster? Because we all pay for that. So where are they?
Aye.
I actually think that's, you know, and you know, the BBC, they do send a lot of people to every Scotland away game, to every, you know, with Celtic and Rangers. There's a lot of BBC guys get sent out to cover. I'm sure that they would be asking, well, why are we not putting something together here? Why on earth would the national broadcaster not wish to broadcast the national football team? It seems strange to me.
Stephen Leonard has written in saying, thank God, who wants to watch Scotland getting battered anyway? As long as Clark is in charge, I will not be watching. Had enough of the Euros. That's another.
Well, get him off, and it doesn't matter. His opinion's invalid.
Exactly. The other thing, though, Keith, that I wanted to talk about in a Scotland fan sense, I guess, is the fact that a lot of fans have hit out a double standard that they've perceived after Glasgow against Edinburgh in the 1872 Cup. The rugby I'm talking about has been moved to Hampden Park on December the 22nd. And the rugby fans will be able to have a pint at the game. Before I get your take on it, let me throw a few opinions at you that have been sent in. Conor McGinley. I'm a fan of both sports and I can see both sides of the argument. To be honest, I think the alcohol freezing football fans is based on reputation. I've never seen a fight break out, never mind, or next to each other, never mind at the opposite ends of the stadium. They've earned it. When can you imagine Celtic and Rangers fans being able to sit next to each other sober without any trouble? Ian Miller says, though, this is Scottish hypocrisy at its worst. Under the Criminal Justice of Scotland Act, alcohol is supposed to be banned, but the corporate brigade gets to consume alcohol before and after matches. And David Knight says, why not at football? You can in England, why not here? You can't buy a ticket without registering your club. Should make it easy enough to weed out the troublemakers. And I'm of that opinion, really, Keith. I don't really see why football fans are kind of held in this country as, I don't know, just kind of
citizens.
Aye, basically, aye. I just think it's a bit mad. Down in, are you telling us that football fans in Scotland are any worse than the fans in England? They can have a pint, but we can't.
No. Listen, I see the hypocrisy in all this, and I don't like it, and I don't like the way that it's just assumed that guys that prefer rugby know how to behave. They're not like the riffraff that go to. I mean, we're football guys all our life, so it's insulting.
Aye.
And I don't like it, and it's patronising.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, the argument down south about two-tier policing. Well, there's two-tier drinking going on here. Football fans are doing none of it, and rugby are doing all of it, and I think that is blatantly unfair. So I get on board with that argument, but at the same time, I think we have to be grown up about it, and we have to accept that football fans and football as a sport doesn't help itself. With some of the behaviour that you see around our games, it's almost as if people are looking and saying, well, these people can't be trusted. I think the vast majority of football fans in this country have every right to feel insulted about that. But they've also got to take a look at the minority that attach themselves to whatever football club it might be and find it really difficult to behave, because they seem to be the guys that set the tone when it comes to if people in Hollywood are making decisions about what football fans can and can't be trusted, or how they can and can't be trusted to behave. they look at the minority, and these guys are probably ruining it for everybody else. You know, you look at some of the stuff that goes on with the ultras. You look at what happened at Ibrox last week, the European game. You get fireworks get set off inside the ground. You know, the Green Brigade have had so many issues. There's been trouble with objects thrown on the pitch in big high-profile matches, be that in Edinburgh or Glasgow or whatever else. And unfortunately, I think there's the mentality is, well, look at that. There's another example. We can't trust them.
Mm-hmm.
But they're turning a blind eye to the 99.9% of fans. They just go along and watch a game of football, and they're quite happy, and they're not interested in all the sort of crazy stuff that goes on around about it. But unfortunately, they are genuinely the silent majority. So there's I can see faults on both sides here. But yes, I do find it incredibly irritating that an assumption is made that football fans and rugby fans, the vast majority of both sets are you know, to be judged in two separate ways. It's not right. It's clearly, patently not right.
Aye, and I would throw in as well, just I take all your points on board, but a lot of the stuff, the behaviour that you've referenced there, they'll have that in England as well. You know, there'll be fans with pyros and stuff like that. They get a drink.
Yeah, but we know, Daniel, we know the history behind this. That's all to do with the Hampden riot between Celtic and Rangers in the early 80s. And what happened there, and there was a reaction to it, and I'm not going to say it was an overreaction because it wasn't. But we're some time down the road from there now. You'd like to think it wouldn't be beyond people to get around a table and work out a solution. It is ridiculous.
Aye, I think you summed it up when you said it was insulting and patronising. I think that's the best way to put it. Right, we're obviously on Scotland duty, Keith, and we mentioned at the top of the show that we would give fans the chance to see the entire Ben Doak press conference.
Ben Doak's not even allowed a drink, by the way.
Exactly, aye. Let's do that now then. Ben Doak was the man put up today, and here's what he had to say ahead of Scotland's clashes with Croatia and Portugal.
Well, I can only speak for how I'm feeling, but there's a good feel about the place. Personally, I feel quite confident we can go and do better than the last international break and hopefully get some points on the board.
How are you feeling about your own game at the moment? You're obviously at Middlesbrough, you started earlier. How are you enjoying your football?
Yeah, loving it. I think I've played more football in the last week than I did in 7 months, so it's good to get out there and start getting fit and start enjoying myself again.
Yeah, how important is that to get that run of games? You've obviously had a few injury problems as well. Is it just about getting as much football in you as you can at the moment?
Yeah, of course. Also, it's good for any young player to be starting games week in, week out. Also, it helps you improve so much playing games here and there. You're never going to see the best of any player. So the players that play every week, they're the players you get the best out of. So hopefully I can play as much as I can.
Obviously you're back involved with the national team. You were due to be involved in the Euros until injury unfortunately ruled you out. How big a blow was that? How difficult was that to have to watch that from afar?
Yeah, it was gutting. Of course, like the injury, it wasn't too serious. I was back training shortly after, but I just came back a little bit too early. Also watching the games, it was gutting how it went. Obviously going out of the tournament in the last minute, but that just kind of drove me on more to try and get in the squad and hope I can make a difference.
Did you feel, Ben, looking on that it was something you could have made an impact on, especially in later games against Hungary when it was level, just needed a goal to go through? You could have gone and made a difference.
Well, maybe. Like football's football. I might have played a decent bit. I might have not got on the pitch at all. Like we're never going to know. It's all the what ifs, but I'd like to think I would have made a bit of a difference. Yeah.
Is that the thing that drives you on as a young player? You've seen this squad get to major tournaments, and obviously it's a long way away, but you want to be part of that going forward.
Yeah, of course. I think it's a dream for any young lad growing up, especially in Scotland. I think everyone wants to be a footballer. I think everyone wants to pull that jersey on and hopefully go and get some big wins for us.
In terms of these games coming up, obviously we're just trying to work out 12 or 13 injuries to first team players. Does that give you an opportunity to make your mark on the squad over the next few games?
Yeah, of course. I think if I'm starting games or coming off the bench, that's not up to me. But whether I play 90 minutes or whether I play 5 minutes, I just need to go and leave it all out there.
And when you were included in the Euro squad, there was a great deal of excitement in the country, young talent coming through. Were you aware of that excitement, that atmosphere around you?
Only with like my family and like my mates and that. Like I try and not really look at that stuff because like it's all well and good when you've got all the hype and everyone's bigging you up, but it can be the same people that are smacking you down when you don't play well. So I don't take notice to the negatives or the positives.
You said it was gutting that you didn't make the squad. Who next to you was kind of supporting you at that time? Was it a big blow for such a young lad?
Yeah, obviously I went home after the Gibraltar game, just before the tournament. So I just went home and I spent a lot of time with my family. Just got back to training with my mate who had some time off as well. So it was good to be around people that I'm closest with just to help me take my mind off it.
What are you like watching the team on the TV? Are you a patient or impatient watcher?
Depends how the game's going. I think if we're 2-0 up, I'm a bit more composed. But if we're 1-0 down, I start shouting at a few of the lads and that. You know what I mean?
You obviously wing is your position, but how would you feel about playing through the middle if you were asked?
I'd be comfortable doing it. I mean, I think I'd offer us something a bit different. I played number 9 in the youth teams as well, so I think I'd be able to do a job that gives a bit something different to what I've already got. But again, it's not my decision whether I play there or not.
Okay, just going back to what you were saying there about you don't look at the kind of outside noise, the staff people that put you up could knock you down. Do you feel that there's a lot of almost pressure on you already as a young player that you're at a big club and especially being a forward, you've got a lot of pace, something that Scotland have been lacking for you. Do you feel that there is a lot of pressure on you, or is that something that you also just don't take notice of?
I mean, if I went out my way to go and look, I think early on when I first kind of started making appearances, I fell into that and started putting mostly a lot of pressure on myself because of what other people were saying. But like that doesn't help you, it doesn't help your team. So like it's easier to just close your mind off to it and not look and just like relax, just take it easy and go and enjoy your football.
I think this is the first chance we've had to speak to you since making your full international debut. Can you try and describe what that feeling was like for you?
Weirdly enough, it didn't really feel like anything because I came on where the team were in a losing position. All I wanted to do was just go and impact the game and get us back into it. And when it went 2-2, I think that was the first time in the game where I realised I was like wow, I'm playing for Scotland here and I've just been involved in the goal. But like when you're coming on and then when you ultimately at the end of the day you lose the game, it takes a bit of the feeling away. You just want to get on to the next game.
What were your friends and family like after it?
Yeah, they were buzzing. My mum and dad were at the game. I think my mum started crying in the stand. Not sure, but yeah, they were really happy.
How important has Andy Robertson been for you, not only just in Scotland camps as well, but back down south at Liverpool? What's he been like for you?
Yeah, he's been a real important guy in the dressing room, on the pitch as well. He keeps you right on the pitch, and more importantly, he keeps you right off it. I think helps you settle in. It helps you integrate in with all like the more experienced lads. Gets you involved in like the banter and stuff. So yeah, he's been a really good guy for me.
Learning from another big name at Middlesbrough as well, and Michael Carrick. What have you learned from him so far?
Just how to manage a game, and I think being at Middlesbrough in the Championship, the games can be a bit hectic. And in the 3 starts I've had, been a lot of running, a lot of defending, and I mean other people might disagree, but I feel like my defending at Middlesbrough has been a lot better than what it has been previously in terms of positioning and being in the right place and being able to break out on the counter.
How do you deal with the expectation?
Again, like I don't really feel like there is any expectation because like I don't take any notice. Like the only times it really feels like a bit surreal is when like you're playing in the game and like you feel the crowd like getting up and getting a bit rowdy when you get on the ball. But then again, like you don't notice it. Like when you're on the pitch, like you don't even notice the fans are there when you're on the ball.
Obviously a big decision for you when you made the decision to move down south. Do you think that, injury aside, that enhanced your chances of getting international recognition?
I wasn't really thinking about playing with Scotland at that point, to be honest. I felt like that was the right move for me at the time, to go down south and go and play and train at an elite level. Everyone knows how good that Liverpool squad has been and how they are doing currently, the top of the league. And so I didn't see any cons to going there.
Ben, how would you reflect on your journey in general over the last few years? I mean, obviously going down to Liverpool, playing in the first team, playing regularly in the Championship this season, and obviously making the break to international level. Has it gone quicker than you could have imagined a few years ago?
A few years ago, yeah, I didn't expect to be here at 18 and even getting picked for the 26-man squad in the Euros, especially the way the season went before it. I was just like, I missed the full second half of the season, but like it's just now it just feels like normal. Like it's just on to the next thing, on to the next thing, on to the next thing. So hopefully I can just keep doing well and keep getting into the right people's thoughts.
Ben Doak there, for a boy, Keith, who's still only 18, he talks brilliantly, doesn't he?
Well, that's why I thought it would be a good idea just to let that interview run, just so people could get a feel for him. And the thing that kind of screams out, the thing that I was really enjoying about watching it is how confident he is, how mature he is for 18. It's ridiculous.
That jumps out at you.
When he talks there about, you know, it's only when he was on the pitch and he realised that he's just helped set up a goal against Poland. He's thinking, wow, I'm playing for Scotland. And he talks about every boy in Scotland grows up wanting to play football and want to be a professional. Do you know what he's got? He's got the common touch. And I don't think he's trying to find that. He's too young to even think about it. He just is what he is. And I really like it. And I get all this stuff, about, well, let's not, and he needs to protect himself from it. Getting overhyped and too much pressure put on young shoulders. And there is a responsibility in all of us to make sure that doesn't happen with Mick Messi. But there is something. There's something about the kid, and don't take it from me, as I've said previously. Take it from Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah.
When Jurgen Klopp had him at Liverpool, he didn't want to let him go out on loan. There was plenty of other kids, younger, older, all encouraged to go and go elsewhere and get some game time. Jurgen Klopp actually wanted him available, just in case there was any issues with Mo Salah. And I think he knew, and there's a really interesting conversation we had here, because I spoke with Graham Souness about Billy Gilmour, and Graham Souness was quite scathing about the decision that was made on Billy Gilmour's behalf for him to go to Norwich. He said he's wasting a very important year in his life here and his progression, because he's training every day with some of the best players in the world, and he'll learn more from those training sessions than he will do going to Norwich, going out on a Saturday afternoon, watching the ball fly back and forward above his head for 90 minutes, losing again, getting dragged into a relegation battle, feeling bad about himself, ultimately couldn't get a game with Norwich. The fans were turning on him. So Graham Souness's opinion was that, and he called it at the start, by the way, he called it at the start of that season, not at the end. He knew that was bad for Billy Gilmour's development. Thankfully, Billy Gilmour's recovered. And Ben Doak, Jurgen Klopp made a similar decision. He'll learn more training every day with Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk, Andy Robertson, Alexis McAllister, all these guys, than he would do going out on loan. But there does come a point, and maybe Arne Slot is taking a different viewpoint, and he's taking a viewpoint, right, well, now he is ready to go and get some games. But you listen to the way the guy talks for a young lad, it seems to me that he's got his head screwed on. And do you know what? Let's not get overexcited. Let's not put the weight of the world on his shoulders. But let's sit back and enjoy what he might bring to the table, because there's certainly a talent there, and a guy like Jurgen Klopp can see it, then I'm happy to go along with Jurgen on that.
You forget that the first game of last season, Liverpool were at Chelsea, and he started the game under Klopp. He started on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
And this is very
But
unsettling.
I was going to say, I remember Billy Gilmore starting a game against Liverpool with Chelsea, for Chelsea, and man of the match.
Roy Keane raved about it.
And it was a similar point in his development. And the move to Norwich was badly advised. It wasn't the right move for him. Thankfully, Billy Gilmore has shown the wherewithal and strength of character and resolve and the natural talent to come back from that. And he's now, at Napoli, and he's flying, and I'm looking forward to watching him in a Scotland shirt again. But this young kid, Ben Doak, he could be Billy Gilmore, the sort of attack version. We've got a potential master of his craft in midfield with Billy Gilmore, and Ben Doak could be the equivalent in the final third. And what's not to get excited about? Why should we not get excited about the prospect of that? Because we could have the two of them and some others for a considerable period of time going forward.
Mm-hmm. This is not very scientific, but my girlfriend's from Middlesbrough. Her whole family are Middlesbrough daft. Mum and Dad go to every home game, and her mum said to me the other day that he stands out. He stands out right away. You look at him playing, and he looks like a player from a higher level. And I know what you're thinking, Keith. A, I do have a girlfriend, and B, I know we're joking about McMessy and that, but why can't Scotland produce a Gareth Bale? A truly outstanding game changer, as you put it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what we've been crying out for. That's what we've been waiting for. The team has been developing. It's been building defensively. It's been building midfield. We've got decent options going forward. We've got goal scorers, but they're mostly coming from midfielders. And what we've been crying out for, what we've been waiting for, what might take us to the next step is this sort of link between midfield and attack, a creative guy. And he said there, and that's another thing, they're saying to him, could you play number 9? I could do that. I'd be perfectly confident in my ability. I love that. I just love it.
Me too.
And by all accounts, around training, around the group, he's just slotted right in. There's no kind of, tugging of the forelock and feeling, privileged just to be there. I'm sure there is a bit of that, but it doesn't come across. It just comes across a young guy who's thrilled to be there, happy to be a part of it, and just enjoys playing football. So no, I'm really excited to see the next step for Ben Doak. I can't wait for him to get back to Liverpool, but I think a season at Middlesbrough will do him power of good, and I'm really interested to see what the next 12 months looks like for him.
Having said all that, Keith, would you start him against Croatia and or Portugal?
That's an interesting decision, and it'll probably come down to what's available to the management. Steve Clarke is pretty short of options, and that's why I said to John Carver yesterday, does this give you a chance where in ordinary circumstances you might be tempted to just hold him back a little bit, maybe give him 10 minutes at the end of a match, bleed him in gently. And I think if we had a fully fit squad, with all first picks available, that would probably be the case. But the circumstances around these two matches might make it easier for Steve Clarke and Carver to sit there and say, do you know what, let's get him on now, either whether it's from the start or whether it's, a full half. Or I look at the options available to us for the first game in Zagreb, and I just wonder if that might be an opportunity to get him in from the start, and let's see what he can do. Maybe they'll take the flip side of the coin and think, well, it might be better to do that at Hampden against Portugal. I don't know. I think if it was me, I'd want to see him. I'd want to get him into that first 11 and just take a look at what he might be able to provide. And if it goes as well as we all hope it would do in Zagreb, then, well, he's kept his place against Portugal, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And this is a boy that needs as much football as he can get right now, and that's what he just made clear in that interview as well.
I'd have him in the start in Zagreb. I guess we'll see. Before we finish, Keith, there's one domestic matter I wanted to get your take on, and it's Craig
Yeah.
Robertson departing Rangers. Another senior figure leaves Ibrox. James Kirwan has written in saying the club is keeping the fans in the dark. Why are they jumping ship? I mean, see, to people on the outside, Keith, Rangers just seem like an absolute shambles behind the scenes.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, who's even making decisions now?
Well, it's obviously John Gilligan's in there as a caretaker chairman, and he's a well-intentioned guy with the club's best interests at heart. There's no doubt about it. But everywhere he looks, something else is falling down. Whether it's the stand, whether it's the chief executive, whether it's the former chairman, everything is going wrong all around about Rangers. And I've been saying it for a while. They need an absolute recalibration from top to bottom. I know the guys in there will be trying their best to hold everything together, but it's gone beyond that now. Rangers need a reboot. They need outside investment. They don't need to be run by committee, by a bunch of guys that I'll put in and you put in this. And they actually need something entirely new. Fundamental change is required, a rebuild. Yeah. And they need to be able to look at all the positions across the football club, from the academy to the first team to the boardroom, and assess, this is what we need. We need professional people at every level. And until such times as they do that, then they're going to play second fiddle in this country for a considerable time. It's going to take outside investment and a fresh pair of eyes and a fresh approach. Now, I don't know what happened with this one. I'm not sure if he was somehow getting the blame for what happened with Igamani and the missing visa, and it seems to be just spinning plates seems to be the order of the day in Ibrox right now. And I don't know if somebody's let a plate slip for that one, cop the blame. I don't know. Maybe if you're in any of these positions right now, you're looking for a way out because there's too much work getting thrown at you, and there's not enough stability and order around the place. So if you did get a job offer to go somewhere else that you felt was more attractive and more stable, of course you're going to look at it. But it needs a root and branch review. It needs fresh money from fresh investors, not the same ones, not the same old names, not the same old ideas. It needs a contemporary reboot. And the only way of doing that is for the guys in that boardroom to be prepared to let go of their power, let go of their little bit of the club that they're holding on to, and let somebody else who has fresh ideas and fresh finance to redo the thing from top to bottom.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's alarming.
We've gone past the stage at Rangers that a stick and plaster approach is going to be any use, because limbs are falling off all over the shop here.
Yeah, I was going to say it's alarming to me that, say whatever you want about Scottish football, but Rangers and Celtic, still two of the biggest clubs in the UK, comfortably. The Rangers should be a really attractive proposition to anyone to go and work, but you just said it there. It feels to me from the outside that people within Rangers are looking for actually actively looking for the chance to leave. It just seems absurd to me.
Yeah, but that's the key point, what you just said there. If you flip the coin on that, Daniel, they're an extremely attractive proposition for an investor. Mm-hmm. For all the reasons you just said. They've got a global fan base. They've got the name, the history, the stadium. They've got access to potential easy access into whether it's the Champions League or the Europa League. Far easier than you're going to get down south. And that is why I am convinced that there are American investors, or be it from other parts of the world, with serious finances that would be really, really interested. But you just wonder, are they being prevented from coming in through the door? Are they being treated as hostiles? Mm-hmm. Because that's the first thing that's going to put people like that off.
Yeah. It's a fascinating one. Keith, that brings us to the end of Wednesday's Hotline Live with Record Sport. If you sent in a question, we really appreciate it, and we'll be back to do it all again at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Or you won't, Keith, though, because you're off to Zagreb.
Off to Zagreb in the morning.
And enjoy your trip. I hope it's an absolute cracker and a big win for Scotland. And thanks for watching at home.